Okay, we'll start inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. All praise is due to Allah, and may Allah's peace and blessings be on our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is session 2, talking about the rules and guidelines for inheritance in Islam. Last time there was an introduction for this important branch of fiqh of Islamic jurisprudence, and we discussed the al-huquq al-muta'alliqa bil-tarika, or the dues, rights, and dues on the heritage or the money. Excuse me. So we discussed the dues on the heritage of the deceased person. Okay. And we said, if you remember, we have some financial responsibilities or dues on the heritage of the person before we start distribution of this inheritance. And we just referred to the difference between how things work in a culture like the American culture or American system, for example, and other, ways, Bismillah, like the Islamic way. So here things mainly work according to the will. So the will of the deceased, we said it's there, one part of the rules of Islam. But before that, we have 4 things on any heritage before. Or 4 things before we talk about the distribution of the heritage amongst the heirs. Number 1 is, if you can remember, we're talking about the debts, the specific debts. We have 2 kinds of debts. A specific debt, like like mortgage, for example. Mortgage is not 100% the buyer's property until he pays off everything on it, because there is some kind of lien on it, or it's not 100% mine yet. So in case this person dies, then the person that I owe him, or the creditor, if you want to call him, will take his specific property before we start talking about distribution or anything else. Number 2 comes what? The dues, or the financial things that will be needed for the burial and for the funeral in general. That comes number 2. So whatever it takes to bury him, to wash him, to all the funeral procession thing, that should be taken from his money before number 2. Number 3 will be general debts, the debts that he owes to anybody, because that's it takes priority also before the distribution of the heritage. Number 4 is the will. If he has any will, give that money to that person, or whatever, any will, that will come as number 4. And we said the will in Islam, it has a specific chapter by itself to discuss the rules of it. But the 2 main the two main points that we need to be aware of as we're talking about the will is a will should be to someone who doesn't have a share in inheritance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set some shares for heirs, even if there's no will. If there's no will or anything in there, we have a son, we have a daughter, we have an uncle, we have this and that, everybody will have a certain share. So on top of that, we have the will. The person might make a will. A will will be within how much? If you remember, the maximum somebody can make a will after he dies in Islam, it's 1/3. It's 1/3. So it doesn't work in Islam if somebody said, all my money goes to that good purpose or this purpose or whatever. You have right to maximum 1/3 of your money. You can do whatever you want as you are alive, even if you pay all your money to anybody. You have full capacity to do that. Once you die, the maximum of a will that you can have is 1/3, up to 1/3. So that takes effect. Difference between a will and anything else is a will takes effect after your death. So, excuse me, you can have a will and it's actually highly recommended. And in the will, you explain not only the financial things, but actually what do you owe to who, and usually even it's part of it is to give advice to your family and friends and things like that. But part of it is the financial thing.
Like my house can go to, or my car, or is that not?
Up to 1/3 of your property. So if you know you're a millionaire or something, and in this case a house or two will be within 1/3, whatever will be within 1/3, you can first condition, you can play or behave or use 1/3 of your property. That's the number one condition. Condition two is لا وصية لوارث. The will shouldn't go to anybody who has a share in the inheritance already. It can be to anyone who will not be amongst the circle of the people who are entitled already by the Shara', by the Quran and the Sunnah to get a share. Please feel free to ask questions. I'm asking everybody to feel free to ask questions.
My son is not Muslim, and so he should not inherit from me.
Right, we discussed this.
I can put him in the will.
You can put him in a will, up to 1/3. Yes, you can put him into in a will. So number 4, as we said, on the dues and the heritage, after the specific debts, after the cost of the burial and everything that has to do with funeral. And number 3, after the general debts in general. And number 4 will be the will within 1/3, as Allah said in the Quran, "Min ba'di wasiyyati yusi biha aw dayn." He was talking about the distribution of the shares of everybody, and he said that should be done after fulfilling any wasiyah, which is will, and after paying off any debt. Number 5 comes the distribution of the shares of everybody. And we discussed the reasons of inheritance, and it's only for those who are related to the person through blood or through marriage. And we discussed all of these rules. Let's jump straight to the al-warithuna min al-rijal. Who will inherit of men? Well, for you to fully understand inheritance, we have at least 2 or 3 more sessions to get everything put in the right place. Now we are just going over, section by section. Who will inherit in general from men? That doesn't mean all of them would inherit at one time, but who can possibly inherit, because some of those, if all of them are there, some will be closer to the deceased according to certain rules, so they will block those who are far. But who can possibly, at certain cases, inherit of the family members as far as the men? The next section will be women. I'll put it here. Heirs of men. Number 1 will be, obviously those who are related to the deceased will be through al-bunuwa, like those who are from his lineage, children, child, a boy, and then his son, this is a grandson. And al-ubuwa fatherhood, like his father, his grandfather. So we're going down lineage and we're going up like his origin. And then the sides will be his brother, his brothers, whether full or from the father or from the mother. And then you will go to the uncles. Like if we have X of people, X will be always the deceased. So this X has, on top of him will be who? The father, the origin of him, right? And under him will be what? Son. Now we're talking only about men, okay? We talk about women right now. Son. And under the son will be grandson, okay? And on. And on, please. You don't have anything. And on, down. Huh? X is the deceased person. The deceased, the dead person. Person who dies, the person that we will inherit. Okay? So being him a man or woman. So now we're trying to talk about who will inherit him as far as males for now. And then we talk about who will inherit him as far as females. So X, as we're going up, will be the father, and go up will be what? The grandfather, and up. So now, this is al-bunuwa, or we have sonhood, somehow the sonhood. Those, you know, who will come from him. Any son or great grandson or great grandson and so on. And this will be the fatherhood if you want. Because in Islam that's called father, that's also called father. The Jed or the grandfather can be called father as well. But like grandfather or great grand, even in English, you just add grand. So grandfather and on, up. Now we talk about this, they call him in fiqh the branches of his father. Branches of his father, like from the father also will be son, will be a brother to him, right? His brothers, going sideways. His brothers. Either from his father only, or from his mother, like full brothers, from both father and mother of the same X, or only from the father, or only from the mothers. So, and we have the branches of his grandfather, like the son of the grandfather. Who will be that? How will be this person related to him? Uncle. So this is the uncle. And then brothers as well, we have sons. In English, it's one word that will serve so many branches in Arabic. We call them what? The son of your nephew. Nephew will be the son of your brother's son, your sister's son, and so many other people. Actually, like 9 or 10. In Arabic, everyone has his specific name. Ibn Akh, Ibn Ukht. Like cousins. Cousins is the most general word in English. I'm not sure, maybe it has to do with the family. It's not, they don't give everybody his specific name. Cousins will be, 10, 15 people will come under this title. But in Islam, we really need to know who are we talking about, because not all cousins will qualify to inherit, not all nephews and so on will qualify to inherit. So, a son of a brother, since we're talking only about male now, son of the brother, which is a nephew, will also qualify to inherit. Son of an uncle. What do you call a son of an uncle? A cousin? How he is related to X. Son of his uncle. Cousin. So cousin, which in this case the son of his uncle, that is also qualified to inherit from him. So let's talk about them as a list. As a list, number one will be the son. Yeah, that's we said this as a disclaimer from the beginning. We are not saying that all of these will inherit at the same time. We are talking about everybody that can possibly inherit. It does not mean that all of them will inherit. If all of these are present at the same time, only 3 of them will inherit. Can you guess? Now, again, let's not jump to other things, because once we discuss everything, it will be so clear and you can even answer, you will find the answer so easy. Now, what we are focusing on is who can possibly inherit, and by inheriting, I mean will have a share mentioned in the Quran. who can possibly have a share that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, they have shares in the inheritance. And that doesn't mean that only those will inherit and everybody else from the family members. Or let's say, for example, usually if a son is there, this will be blocked. His son will be blocked. Uncles will be blocked automatically, according to the rules that we will discuss later. But it doesn't mean that you will completely ignore them. Allah said in the Quran, وَإِذَا حَضْرَ الْقِسْمَةَ أُولُو الْقُرْبَى, if the distribution of the inheritance was attended by أُولُو الْقُرْبَى, the extended family, وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينَ. We really need to find like a specific room or something so we have more. It's okay. It's mainly for you actually. So, I mean, extended family members will also qualify to take discretionary share if you want. They will make them happy, they will give them something, but they will not qualify to take a specific share, like we give 1/3 to this or 1/5 to that or this or that. No, only those will qualify according to the case to get one specific share according to the Quran. So who can, again, we're trying to get everybody who can possibly inherit in a way or another. It's 10 people. Let me discuss them first. X is the deceased, the person who dies. Now to inherit, you need to inherit someone, right? We are saying the son. Son of who? Son of this. Son of X. X son. X son. So this is the deceased. We all will be talking about X of people. So it could be man or woman. So number one of those who will inherit is the son. As far as the males, we'll put them in one list. Number two will be his son, or the grandson. This number two, and on down. Let's say, for example, X of people dies, and he had a great grandson, and he doesn't have the son. This dies, and this. Everybody who is in between him and X are dead already, and this is the only person, grandson or great grandson. You will inherit. So son, grandson, and on down. This is number two. Number three will be father. Number four, al-Jadd Abul Ab, the grandfather from the father's side. The grandfather from the mother's side will not inherit. Usually, those who are related to X through males, usually, we have a couple of exceptions, but usually those who are related to X through males will inherit. Those who are related to him, most of the time, with the exception, with a few exceptions, actually a couple of exceptions, will not inherit, because this is, you know, they call it asaba, or the relationship of somebody related to the person through a man. They call it asaba, like they are a close family or the close relationship. No, we just mentioning, we're not saying that's not an order or anything. We're just trying everybody who can possibly inherit. And again, who will inherit what and when and how and who will block who, that's going to be a next step. Now we are just telling you who may inherit. And later on we will tell you who inherit what. Father will come, number three. Number four is al-Jadd, the grandfather on the father's side, and up. And on up, like great-grandfather, great-grandfather. Usually, if a father is there, or take it as a rule, like we are going in the same direction, so father is there, even if the grandfather is there, you will not inherit. You will be blocked by the father. Great-grandfather will be blocked by this. Son is there, everybody down here will be blocked. Okay, that's a rule that will be discussed in detail later, but just to make it, to answer some of questions that might come up in your mind right now. Number five, we'll talk about the branches. So this is the children, this is the father and up, and now the side or the branches. The branches will start with the up, the brother, who is the branch from your father, like your brother. So a brother, full brother from the same father and the same mother of X, and his children and his sons. So al-akh al-shaqiq, the full brother. Ibn al-akh al-shaqiq, the son of the full brother. And then al-akh li'ab, what do you call a brother from father, only from your father, half brother from your father. Paternal brother, I guess. Paternal brother, half brother from the father side will come after that. And then the son of paternal brother, which is the brother from your side, from your father's side, his son as well. And then al-akh li-um, a brother, half brother from the mother. He's not from here. He is from the mother only. Even though he is related to X through a female, through his mother, but we have an ayah in the Quran that's talking about this, specifically talking about half brothers and sisters as well, but we will discuss sisters with the females. Half brothers from the mother's side, they will have share in the inheritance. But we said, when we said full brother and half brother from the father's side, we also said their sons will inherit. But the sons of the half brother from the mother's side will not inherit. Only the brothers and sisters from the mother's side will inherit, but their children will not. They may qualify to, as we said, extended family. So they will, probably they will be giving something, but not as a share. They will not qualify to take a specific share because they are not mentioned there. All of that system is according to the Quran. According to the Quran, this is the Islamic way. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it. And in some ways, in some places, also hadith, because Quran didn't mention everything. And in very few cases, the scholars use qiyas, which is analogical deduction. Like Allah will mention a rule, for example, about just as an example, hypothetical example, sons of the brothers, but he didn't mention the rules of sons of half brother. So they will say it's the same thing, should be the same thing. In very minor cases, they will use analogy to develop shares for people who are just equal to other people who are given shares in the Quran. So this is number 5. And then number 6, we said the sons of the full brother and the sons of the half brother from the side, the father's side, but not the sons of the brother from the mother's side. And then al-amm al-shaqiq, the uncle, the full uncle. What's the full uncle? A full uncle is the brother of your father from his father and his mother. So this is a full uncle. Okay? So the full uncle from the father and mother, same like your father and your uncle, both of them are from the same father and mother. And then his son as well, Ibn al-Am. That's kind of hard to, to comprehend unless you really, I'm not saying that the family there, family system there is the strongest, but I believe it's so clear in the minds of those who grow up back home. They know that the uncle is there. If the father is not there, he will automatically, step out on his behalf. So the family system is really based in Islam, or one of the few things that's still really being practiced there. The father is there, the uncle is there. So all of these are related somehow. Many times you see them living in the same house or something. That's why it's easy to comprehend in there. And that's what Allah meant. People who are related to each other, they have a strong relationship. It goes either way. Like now, in this case, they will win something. They will get something. But let's say this is alive, for example. This X is alive, and he is not capable of supporting himself. You will, guess what? You will follow the same order. Those who will qualify the most to take from him when he dies, they will be the most to spend on him, to come number one, to spend on him. So this is the relationship with wilayah. Wilayah being like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking a lot about Rahim, the relationship of the womb. So the relationship of the womb, people who are related to each other, mainly through blood and actually through marriage too, they are supposed to, support one another, and it goes either way. Like husband and wife also goes the same thing. Let's say the husband is not capable, like Allah designated the husband as the financial source or the one to take care of the finance of the house. As a rule, yes, he's supposed to. But this doesn't mean if he doesn't have a job and the wife, she happened to get a job, she will say, no, it's not my responsibility. Yes, if she wants to go by the legal things, okay, let's divorce. He's not capable to pay. But no, actually, morally, and it would be a good thing recommended in Islam that she will step in as an exception, to take care of the family and so on. So it goes both ways. Why the uncle will take? Because also he will pay in case this person was alive, was not able to support himself, or say, let's say at the last, portion of his life, there was a lot of expenses. So in Islam, it's expected to follow the same order. Those people follow the same order to support him. That's why they qualify more than anyone else to take, from him. And above all, it's Allah who set this system. So the uncle, and then the son of the full uncle, the son of the full uncle, and then half uncle, which is uncle from the father's side. Like him, this uncle, which is the brother of the father, is his brother, either his full brother or his half brother from his father's side will qualify. And then the son of the half uncle. So the full uncle and his son, the half uncle and his son. That will give you everybody will inherit. Number 9 is 1, 2, 3, and then the grandfather, 4, and then 5, the brothers, being them full or half brothers from the father's side or half brothers from the mother's side. And then number 6, the son of the full brother or the son of the half brother from the father's side. Number 7 will be the uncle, the full uncle or half uncle. Number 8 will be the son of the full uncle or the son of the half uncle. Clear? Actually, when you see it in the list in front of you, it's going to be much easier than this. We're just going over it to discuss it. And number 9, he's not related to X through blood. All of these are related to X through blood. Father, son, grandfather, uncle. It's going to be what? Now we're talking about males. So we assume she is a female now. So number 9 will be the husband. He is male. And he's related to that through marriage. It's not through blood. That's number 9. Number 10 is not there anymore. This is al-mawla, al-mu'tiq, or the person in case that happened to be a slave in the past and he was freed. The person who freed him will qualify. If that X used to be a slave and he was freed and he does not have nobody of those, that comes at the bottom of the list, the person who freed him. The Prophet ﷺ said the beautiful hadith that those who talk about slavery in Islam, they would need to read about it before they can judge Islam by other stereotypes or anything. The hadith mentioned al-wala, or the relationship between the person who freed another person. They have a relationship in between, like the master-slave relationship. This has a name in Arabic, it's called wala. So, let me just quote the hadith. So he said, al-wala, this relationship, luhmatun, is a bond, ka-luhmatin nasab, just like the bond of blood. So they are related to each other like other blood relatives somehow. That person who freed that, if that happened to be an ex-slave, the master, yes, this used to be the master. If this is still a slave, you mean? Oh, someone else? Yes, the person who frees him, that will be the mawla. We call him mawla. Mawla. Not necessarily the master, the one who freed him, being him his master, offering him his freedom, or someone else who, like both him, yes. That will have kind of relationship, a strong relationship to him. So it's not necessarily the ex-master, but the person, that's why we said, al-mu'tiq, the one who freed him. They will still be connected. And that's only in case there is none of those is there. If we have only one of those, let's say the son of the half uncle is there, he will inherit him. That is blocked automatically. Who will block who? We will discuss it later. Don't worry about this. Now we are just trying to talk about everybody who may inherit in any case, who may have a share, a specific share. So, who freed him, being him the master or being him anyone else who bought him and freed him. So those are the 10 categories of people who will inherit. Now, let's assume for the sake of studying, if all of these are here, who will inherit? If all of these males happen to be at one time, X dies and he left behind a son, grandson, great-grandson, father, grandfather, all of them, who will inherit? Only 3 of them will inherit. Will be, 3 people will never be blocked. They will always have a share. 3 categories of people, or 3 categories will be the son, who will always inherit. The father will always inherit. And the husband will always inherit. Then father will block everybody. All of these will be blocked. Everybody on top of him. Son will block all of these sides under him, and the far relationship, like all of these. So, and the husband. So all of these, if they are all there, only the 3 categories that I mentioned, the father, the son, will inherit.
Usually, this is all of our parents agree with that, or all the money goes to the husband and the son, right?
If all of these are present, now we go back to the conditions of inheritance. You attended. Conditions for somebody to inherit. Number 1, do you remember? We discussed it. I'm asking you because I explained it. You have to be alive after X dies, even for 1 second. So if his father dies a day before him, or years before him, or a second before X dies, does he qualify? No. X actually will inherit from him, from his father. So all of these, one of the conditions is that they should be alive after X dies, even for 1 second, to inherit, to qualify to inherit from him. Clear?
So my question was, like, on this diagram, X dies, the son and the husband are part of the old.
And the father as well. Father will always take a share.
Even like the wife.
Yes. Father always will have a share. Son will always have a share. And we talk about the shares. And the husband. In this case, for example, the husband, now we are jumping to who will take what. Husband will take either half or quarter of the total. Quarter 1 if there is any children, boys or girls. In this case, you got a child, a son. So he will take what? 1/4. And then the fathers usually will take either 1/3 or 1/6. He will take 1/3, 1/6. 1/3 if there's no children. And we have a child, a son in here. So he will take what? 1/6. And then the rest for the son. And we will explain this later, inshallah. We will just, In this case, it will be a female because that's a husband. So that's, we're talking about the female now. It does not make a difference, male or female, whoever dies. But if that is a male who dies, then this would be a wife. And we will talk about that now, who of the females will inherit. You're giving me some, what do you call it, nods, or that it's so difficult. It's not difficult. All you need to do is just focus. No, as far as those who will inherit, which is the point that I'm just discussing here. Do you have anything that's not clear that I can discuss more? But as far as who will take what, that's coming. It's not now. If we have a well, again we discussed maybe before you come, that a well has 2 conditions. لا وصية لوارث. So if anybody will inherit like a son, and then X said, well, I will give my son half of my money. So son automatically qualifies to the rest like he will take a share, or husband, let's say the husband. Husband already qualifies for 1/4 of his wife's money. In this case, husband, father, and son. Just one case now. So he will qualify for 1/4, right? No, he wouldn't qualify to take anything from the well. Anybody who will take a share from the inheritance, by default, they cannot take any share from the well. Because the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in the hadith, لا وصية لوارث. No will for somebody who has a share of inheritance. Wasiyah should be given to anyone else who would not inherit. Like in this case, let's say it will go to the son of the uncle or something. But if the wife decides to give all of her money to her husband while she is alive, fine, she can do that. After she dies, now we have rules. Now we have rules that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that we should follow. So this is the rules of Islam, right? So the husband will take one, that's again her money, her personal money. So any question as far as those who will inherit of males? Adopted son is not amongst those at all. They can include him in a will. They can give him all their money while they are alive. But that's what Allah differentiated. He said adopted son, the meaning of the ayah, is not like a full son. Call him to his, by the name of his father. Because all of that, they are related to blood. And that's the importance of a family in there. Then give him the will. Put a will for him, or give him your money, all your money while alive, if you wish. Fine. But if somebody dies, then that system will apply in there. As you are alive, give all your money to anybody that you want. Right? So this is the inheritance system in the adopted son. Not only adopted son, other family members will be there and will not inherit, will not qualify to inherit. So those are the people who will qualify to inherit from the males. Clear? So before I move to those who inherit from the females. Yeah, that's completely unfair, and that's wrong, and that causes a lot of dissension within the family. Like say they have two sons, for example, and then he will, because someone was good to him, or because of any reason, no reason, he will give someone extra, or will decide to give him extra, even in his life, not making justice between them. How do you expect the relationship between those two sons when we are both of us from the same father, from the same mother?
If I, as a father, I have two sons, and I'm not that one son, and I die, and then my son, one of my sons,
like because you are upset with someone,
and they can't put somebody that inherits from them.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, you cannot put someone who will inherit in the will. During his life. During his life, that's a whole lot different topic. And then the rule in it is the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said you have to be completely fair in terms of dealing with your kids, even as far as kissing them. You cannot kiss someone more than the other one. You have to make full justice with your kids, so you will keep balanced relationship and healthy relationship. But again, I think I know what you're talking about. But I'm just giving you the rule first. One day, one of the Sahaba, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm just electing you if you can come and be my witness. I have some kind of contract and I need you to be my witness. He said, what is it? He said, I'm just giving my son, Nu'man ibn Bashir, I'm giving Bashir, it was a piece of land or was property or something. He said, you have other children, right? He said, yes. He said, did you give all of them the same? He said, no. قال أشهد على هذا غيري فإني لا أشهد على جو. Then go and find another witness, because I cannot be a witness for something that's unjust, right? So it's injustice, like you decide, oh, you love her more, so you give her more financial things. But we have cases that you really need to make justice, and that's your intention, as I explained last time. Let's say, for example, you have younger kids and older kids. The older kids, you spend on them and you invested on them in your life, as far as education, as far as they got married, you help them. You're trying to buy a house, you help them. Now they are established and everything. And you got a 10-year-old boy. You still have long way to go, and you are thinking you are about to die or something. So now you're trying to make balance. You spend on the older son tens of thousands of dollars, and this baby, just like, or this child, you didn't spend much on them. So you may, just for the sake of making justice, you may, let's say, for example, allocate, as you are alive, allocate certain amount of, money for him, just to spend on him the same amount. Or, or any cases like that, somebody like this, the older son, for example, that's what happened usually in some cases. Like the older son would be always with his father. He started his business with his father, and he was always with him, and supported him a lot. And he, for the sake of building this business together, the older son maybe probably did not, has his own life in terms of studying and things like that. But the younger ones, the father well spent on them, and they are established in life, and they are, you see what I'm saying? In some cases you might, or you have the handicapped person, you have a lot of children and all of them are established in life, but you have a handicapped person or a young girl, a young boy or something. If it's mainly for the sake of making justice, then that's fine, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of his names is the just or justice. But just to block someone, or because I like her more, I like him more, or because of anything, you don't want to do that. That's completely wrong. A lot of people do it, and it causes fraction and dissension amongst the family, just because his father gave him more or give her more, or block her or block him or something. You don't want to do that. Can you say it again?
He's saying that the older kids got their share in their life, their property,
in many cases, you might need to make justice before you go. Like I explained, I've been talking about this for the last 5 minutes. Yeah, if you have a handicapped person, for example. Yeah, give him more. Not in the will, while you are alive. The question, before dying. Once the person dies, we have a system that will be enforced. It's an automatic system. That's again assuming that everything in Islamic courts and this and that. So that is the system that Allah, and it's not optional, by the way. For Muslims, Allah said faridatan min Allah. This is an obligation from Allah, and Allah knows best. So He gives everybody the shares that they qualify for based on the relationship with the deceased and so on. And it's a misconception that many people will say, oh yeah, you guys have in Islam, a male would always take double shares of the female. Yes, in some cases this will be the case, but in many cases we will have females who will take more than males. In some cases we will have females who will block males. So if the rule in Islam is that a male is better just because he is male, so it will be a rule. It will be a rule. If anytime we have a male, he will take more than a female, or he will block females. But that's not the case. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it according to so many variables. In some cases, males will take more than females, or double than the females. In some other cases, females will take more than males who happen to be far. Yes, in many cases, as we'll explain later on. So they will take, they will block even like far away males or something. They will block them because they are there. Like Bint, the daughter, for example, she will block so many other people who will not inherit if there is children for the deceased, being them boys or girls. Or they will cause, in other cases, they will cause people who will still inherit, males who will still inherit, but instead of taking that share, they will go down to that share just because of the existence of that female. So it's a complete system that you need to look at it all, not just taking one thing from the middle and going. Just like you say, the criminal law of America is executing people, or America is executing people. Yes, some states are doing that, capital punishment, but it's not just like to kill people. No, you have to read it all. In certain cases, when they do that, that will be the punishment. But it's not all. It shouldn't be read like the criminal law of Utah, for example, is to kill people. No, it's just one article in it that could be talking about this with some conditions and some things. I don't want to confuse you, but that should be enough for today, inshallah. Maybe later we discuss those who will inherit from the females. Most of it, or most likely, they will be the counterparts of those. So instead of saying son, will be the daughter, and so on. The father will be the mother. The grandfather will be the grandmother. In most cases.
If a male dies, and they have a son and daughter.
In this case, yeah, it will be double. It will, the only son, just a son and daughter, right? So we will divide it into three shares, the entire heritage. He will take 2, she will take 1. Because Allah says in the Quran, this in the Quran. And to explain that, you have to look at the entire system of Islam. I think I explained it before. The entire financial system. What is the entire financial system? Let me explain it again. We have a brother and sister, okay? The father dies. The father left them $30, 30. He will take what? 20. Son will take 20. She will take 10. But that's one part of the financial system of Islam. Okay, let's take it, let's zoom out and look at it in a greater scale. Now, both of them are young. Let's say 20, 25. They're trying to get married. What does Islam say? Islam will say that this boy who has $20 may go and find a girl to get married to her. What will be his financial obligation in terms of marriage is to pay dowry. Let's say he will pay dowry of $5 for a girl, an ex-girl that he will get married to her, just as a dowry. So he will end up having what? $15. This girl is seeking to get married, so someone else will get proposed to her in Islam. She will get a dowry. We will assume everything is the same. How much? $5. So she ended up having how much now? Huh? 15, right? Now both of them are married. His brother responsibility is to financially spend on the house, on his house. And let's say he doesn't have a job. So he will spend from the $15 that are left with him. Her financial responsibility towards the family is what? 0. She will get married to. So Allah is trying to make peace on a larger scale. And if you want to look at it, you really need to put everything together, not just why will he take double. Actually, he will be, if a male would look at it, it wouldn't be fair for him, because they just getting married. By the time that they got married, he ended up having 15. She ended up having 15. But now she will have more. Now she can have more. She can invest, and those are completely saving for her. That's the Islamic way. She can completely save them. Let's assume they are 15,000 or even 15 million. She can put them and invest them, and they will make more money. But now, no, he will have to spend to provide for his wife and his family, A to Z. He will have to find a house and this and that. So his amount is decreasing actually. And now if let's say they got divorced, the brother will have to pay the rest of the dowry if it was not paid, and mut'a and other expenses for his ex-wife. And if he tries to find another wife, he will still have to pay her dowry, and it goes on. And let's say she got divorced, she will take more money from him, for a year or two. So yeah.
What if you have a son and they get 2/3 or 1/3? Does that mean that if the uncle is alive, he gets nothing?
Uncle of who?
Or it would be the kid's uncle or the deceased brother. Yeah, because you said that you got the son and the son and the spouse.
Like a female?
Children of the deceased.
Yes.
All of the son?
In the case of who, it depends who is with them. Like if the father is there, he will not be blocked. If a husband or wife, which it would be, could be their mother or another.
So it's the male.
In your case, the case.
I'd say in my case, I only have 2 daughters. So.
No, I'm not. I didn't mean that your case. I meant the case that you just quoted now. I assume that it's only a boy and girl. There is no other relatives. So in this case, yes, it will take.
But if there's, say, the father or the grandfather of the children is deceased, and there's only their uncle or their father.
This is how to make it. But again, that's not the next step. That next step will be who will inherit from the females. And the step after that, what is the share of everybody? We will discuss this in 2-3 sessions, because some will qualify to half, some will qualify to quarter, 1/8, 1/3. And then finally, after we study everything, we will give examples. We usually say mata wa taraka. X dies and left. Left what behind? Give me a case. Somebody dies and he left after him who? Give me the case.
Son and daughter.
Son and daughter. Okay,
And
son.
his wife.
Daughter, wife. So he's a male in this case. And who else?
And he has a brother.
A brother?
You know, the children's uncle, but his brother and sister. But if he has
Brother, the brother of this,
of the deceased.
of the deceased, full brother, right?
Yes,
What brother is?
brother.
One brother, okay.
And one sister of the deceased.
Sister. Those, both of these are blocked because he has a son.
Because he has a son. He
Right.
has two daughters.
Where? Two daughters? You said one son, one daughter.
Okay, what if he had two daughters, like in my situation with my two girls,
Okay.
and there's still two daughters, a wife and a brother.
Two daughters. Again, that's gonna be jumping. Let's just do this first. Here, those will be gone. So the wife, usually we go by those who have shares first. Wife in this case, wife can take either 4 or 8, based on if the deceased has children or not, children from her or from anyone else. So in this case, he has children, yes, he has a son and daughter. So she will take 1/8. She will take 1/8. The rest of the heritage will go between those 2 to 1. Okay? There's no father.
There's no.
No father in this specific case. She's giving an example.
Now, the
Son is blocking both of these. They don't qualify. And the rules to block who, when, and how, that's still coming. But I'm just jumping those 2-3 steps. They are still coming. In the other case, if they are what, X, he dies in
X with two daughters.
2 daughters.
Wife,
Okay.
brother, and sister.
Wife, brother, and sister. That's full brother and full sister, right? So a wife will take what?
1/8.
1/8 because there's no children in there. The 2 daughters, the two daughters will take 2/3. 2/3 of the property. If it's one daughter, it usually takes half. 2 daughters, they will take 2/3 and 1/8, and then the rest will go for the brother, and his rest will go for both of them. If it was only a sister, and again, don't ask me why, because it will depend on rules that will need some. If it was only a sister in this case, she wouldn't take nothing. But if a brother is there, because it's asaba, they both will take the rest together. If he is only the one who is there, he will take the rest.
So basically, what happens is number one, the children with the wife, they take their share first, and what's left will be divided amongst the rest of the family.
Those who will take shares. Number one to give is those who have shares. And those who have shares, if it happens to be so many, then we follow certain priorities. And obviously the priorities will be the closest to the person. The top priority is the lineage, this direction. Top priority. In this case, right, but this is those who will block will be called the asabat. Asabat are the male relatives of the ex. Those will be the asaba who will inherit the rest. And actually it goes both ways also. Not in the case of a son. In the case of other asabat. Asaba is called a universal heir. A universal heir doesn't usually have a specific share. He will take the rest after everybody who will inherit by shares takes their share. And if he doesn't have any share, if there's nothing left for him, he will not take anything. So it goes both ways. You can take more and take this.
The uncle or the brother would help take care of the daughters.
Exactly. He is supposed to. We are taking exactly those like the daughters. Let's say, for example, daughters. And not in Islam, legally, they are not required to take care of the wife. They are not required to take care of their, she will be in this case, what, their aunt. They are not required to. If this is there, he will be required to take care of all of them. Yes. I'm trying to get you. Well, I'm explaining this also to the, or taking it with the sisters in Arabic, and the same thing come across, where they are asking about things that will really come when we explain everything in detail. So I told myself at home, I'm not going to talk about anything that did not come. But now I ended up being stuck here. I want you to ask questions here, because to come here, we still have, believe me, 4 or 5 steps. Once we go in this step, and that step, step 3, 4, 5, and we come here, it will be easy. But nevertheless, I'll take your question. But don't blame me if it's still, if you got more confused.
The mother is not pregnant. The sister is not.
Yes.
Yeah. So where does that money go after the mother?
Again, that's still coming. What if we after we divide the shares, we have extra money? In some cases, what if we give everybody shares? Well, in some cases, somebody will take half, somebody will take 2/3, somebody will take quarter, 1/8. But that's more than one. I mean, that's, so we will have rules for all of that. How to round them up again, or if some money is left, how to, you know, give it. We give it back according to the same percentage, or in case we have Bayt Mal al-Muslimin or treasury, Muntazim, that's their treasury for Muslims, it goes to the treasury. 2 main views of the scholars, whether it goes, the rest, like she got the 2/3 because Allah said this in the Quran. He got 1/8 because Allah says this in the Quran. What will happen with the rest? The rest is 1/3. So obviously 1/8 of the third is less than 1/3. So we'll have some money left. Where should it go? Allah doesn't say clearly where should the rest go. Scholars said, some of them said, it will go to the Baytul Mal, the treasury of Muslims, if it's there working. But if it's not there, then we go back to them. Whatever is left, 2/3 of it here, 2/3 of it. It has a specific, you know, towards the end, that comes towards the end of discussing inheritance rules, and it's mainly mathematics at the end. It's going to be mathematics. Yes. Religious court, but if there's no religious court, people should be willing to take the Islamic system, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us Islam. Yes, we talk about the court. Yes, exactly, the court. The court should, you know, you take it to the court. Exactly. Here comes the importance of a system. A system is not there just for somebody to be the president, somebody to be the judge and taking some. No, that system is needed to, you know, step in those cases of where the best solution for us here in the United States is to have a well. A well is binding in here, and in the well we designated somehow that, you know, you will give everybody his shares. No, the American, yes, exactly. The American legal system they call it a well. It's a binding thing that you have to have it there. That in some cases, well, lawyers would, you know, you wouldn't like to say, or you wouldn't want to say, I want my money to be divided according to Sharia or something. But we have a detailed will. You come across a detailed will, like you need to update it when, as the person is dying, he knows who will be there, and he will include, like, you know, for example, he got in this case, for example, 2 daughters and 1 wife. So he will have a will that 2/3 of my inheritance will go here, and whatever 1/8 will go to my wife, or, you know, they can do it somehow so it will be legally binding to follow that system. Very, very important. It is very important, not only for that. I didn't discuss this before, but inshallah we will do it, and we will make a workshop. We will get a notary public, an attorney or lawyer, who will explain to us everything, and we will have a template even for people to sign and everything. I am aware of a few cases that, you know, when I really tell you about those cases, it's hard to break in things. In Michigan, one case in Michigan, for example, a husband and wife, they were driving and they had, I think, 2 or 3 kids. Not sure, 1, 2, or 3, some, you know, at least one child, and he was in the back. It was a back accident. Both of them passed away, and the child is there. So where should the child go? They don't have any family in here, no papers, no will. So they ended up, the entire community, Muslim community, were trying to tell them, oh, that was my friend, and this. No, it doesn't work. Your friend, we wouldn't give you the child. The child ended up being taken. They usually took it to foster home or something. They have some kind of so it's most importantly, more important than the financial issues is those kids and.
My question was, the deceased is in the act of adult. I'm here to stress
There is a hadith from the Prophet ﷺ. It is kind of a responsibility. It is the responsibility of everybody. ما حق امرئ يبيت ليلتين. A responsibility of every person not to let 2 nights go without having his will ready. Literally, the hadith mentioned under his pillow, available. So say specifically, I owe this to that person, or I have this, and those are my children. In case I die, who will be in charge of them? Things like that.
This is something that, I mean, I don't hear, you know, the males in the community.
Many of them, they don't know about it.
They think that, no, we don't have a will, that's wrong, we have to do what's
No.
wrong. Okay, if you don't have a will, and you owe somebody money in the United States, they can come and take everything you own.
Right. No, the board didn't say that. Maybe. The will in Islam is what?
Like even like when the person dies, I think that is not how everything's paid out.
We discussed this. It comes number 4 in the order, after the debts and everything, and then the will.
The United States government is not going to look at it. Oh, in the Quran it says.
Right. That's why. Exactly. Yes, in such a case, if he knows that the money will be gone, the children will be gone, he has something to do, a binding piece of paper document, and he doesn't do it or she doesn't do it, then that's a big problem. Yes, we will. That's one of the purposes why I'm explaining this, to show you how important is the will. And then we make a workshop. We will announce them Friday. We will send emails to everybody where you will get a notary public and a template of a will where all you have to do is just, you know, fill in your information and sign it in front of the notary public. Most of the time you say BCIS will be in charge, or, you know, stuff, or whatever you choose, anybody that you designate. There is some area that you can add people. So you will leave a copy with us in case you said, for example, BCIS community will be in charge of my kids, for example.
First time I would ever see my friend, maybe sign something, like if something should happen.
Right.
She would make sure that my son's taken care of, that this was.
Many people here do it. Many people here, they do it on that level. I personally, I do it when I go to Hajj. I do it and I give it to one of the friends or something, and I leave it with him. But when I travel overseas or something, but we need to do it on a community level, and we have been discussing it even in the board. There is a brother attorney in I think Tampa or something, and we have been thinking to invite him, but we need to raise the awareness of people first so they understand.
Explaining here is not, because I learned from reading Quran and people explaining it to me. What you're saying here is so much more to me. It's more clear, I can understand it than someone telling me, oh, it's so cut and dry. This is the way it is. The way you're explaining it, there are steps.
Exactly.
There's conditions, and they're like, oh no, you automatically get named. You automatically get, my brother gets reported, my sister gets this. And I'm like, wait a minute, what about your children? You know,
right.
What about this? You know, and I always go about questioning it.
This is one of the few rules that are mentioned, most of them are mentioned in detail in the Quran. In 2 pages, for example, in Surah An-Nisa, Allah will say, وَلَكُمْ نِصْفُ مَا تَرَكَ أَزْوَاجُكُمْ إِن لَّمْ يَكُن لَّهُنَّ وَلَدٌ. You entitled, talking to the husband, to take half of the wealth of your wife in case they don't have children. وَلَكُمُ الرُّبُعُ مِمَّا, and you have the quarter if they have children. And then he will talk to wives. You are entitled to one fourth if the husband do not have children, and you will go down to 1/8. Allah is talking in detail about all of these. And if you have been across a few cases or something, then you have to go and live in Egypt for a while or Pakistan for a while to see how bad and complicated is such issues where entire families have been, this dissension happened between them. Usually it's a norm back there which is completely unfair and un-Islamic to block daughters. It's very bad thing in there. They say, well, usually I was talking about the strength of the family system in there. It's so strong. It's not, I don't want to generalize, but in some cases it's really sad. So it's like a tribal system or something. That's our family. The family of the Boers, for example, my family. It's our family. And once my sister, she got married to such and such person, now she belongs to his family. She belongs to the other tribe. The norm in some cases is, that's our money, especially when it comes to land, property. Land for people back there is such like that's my land and my father's grandfather's land. So now it's so difficult for them to take piece of it, especially if the father is so rich, to take a few acres or maybe even multiple acres and give it to the girl, because they literally say it goes to the other family of such and such. That's the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, this is the blood of relative of that deceased. You don't have right to block. They block it, and subhanallah, you see in many cases, wallah, you see it's so sad. A piece of land or a house, for example, because it's even clearer in the case of house, because house you cannot divide it. It has a problem or a case in the court, and it goes through generations. This generation, the generation of grandfather, they will, fighting on it, and they cutting the relationship with each other and fighting forever for it. Then they passed away. It goes to this generation is still fighting. Sons are still fighting, and the house is still the same. Why do we do that? Let's go by the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's so simple and so easy. The God of all, Allah, it gives everybody their share. Give it to them and make it easy. Many of them also, it's not that, they think of it as not appropriate to, that has been our land and our house. Let's not divide anything. They keep it. They don't divide any shares, and they, status quo. Everybody is alive there. Leave the house. Don't talk about it until the next generation. Somebody dies. Those who are supposed to take their shares, they die, and then the next third or fourth generation, they claim the rights, and it gets so much complicated through 2 or 3 generations. But it's so simple and easy. Allah said a very clear system. Who will take what, when, who will block who. Just take it. If you're not aware of it, well, fine. Just consult those who know, who are aware of it, and abide by it, and it's so simple. The children are? Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, yes, there is wasi. Wasi is somebody to be appointed, trustee, to be appointed on the money until those children. Allah mentioned this also in the Quran. ولا تؤتوا السفهاء أموالكم التي جعل الله لكم قياما وارزقوهم فيها واكسوهم وقولوا لهم قولا معروفا. قال وابتلوا اليتامى حتى إذا بلغوا النكاح. And you even test them until they become adult. You test them, test how they will run, financially run. And Allah says, فإن آنستم منهم رشدا. When you think they are rational enough now, then you can give them their money. So there is a trustee who cannot, he doesn't deal with it as his money, his own money, but he should invest it or take care of it. That will be appointed by the court until those kids grow up. When they grow up, Quran says test them and see, because adults now is and everywhere it's like 13, maybe 15, but still maybe 13 and 15. If you give him a fortune, they will just waste it. But Allah says, test them, give them some, and see how they will, spend it. And if when you are sure that they can spend it wisely, then you can فادفعوا إليهم أموالهم ولا تأكلوها إسرافا وبدارا أن يكبروا. Give them their money and do not eat it up. Do not take anything from it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking care of everything. And why a trustee will be there or something, it's mainly a religious thing. He will take word from Allah. It's not just a rigid system or dry system that, because in some if the reward of the akhirah, of the hereafter, is not there, tied or connected to it, who would care to do it, or who would care to be honest? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making it like something rewardable, something religious for us, that we do it. Because you do it for others, maybe your kids will need it to be done for them. Okay, now or on the side, inshallah. Any more questions? All right, جزاكم الله خيرا والله أعلم. Allah knows best. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.